world acknowledging and working with South Africa to bring those items to you. So world trade, therefore, is incomplete without South Africa. South Africa is the central point for trade, more especially for countries, for the continent of Africa. So don't look at yourself, wherever you come from, as being insignificant. You are very important, because in the future, as you are now being introduced to the maritime sector, you may end up being part of facilitating world trade, working either in departments or working for shipping companies. But it starts here. And for you and your teachers having introduced and motivated you to be here today, don't take it lightly. It's a seed that they are planting to you. So it is up to you whether you then water that seed that is on the ground for it to then mature and grow. So the future of your involvement in the sector depends to no one other than yourself. So remember the day you were introduced to the maritime sector, and write it somewhere in your heart so that it would be a constant reminder to you that, by the way, it was that meeting I was invited to, that inserted the seed in me, and that seed is now growing. Because the others that you see around here, some of them were like you today. They were introduced, but they then took care of the message they received, and they grew it, and to a point where they finished schooling, they went to college. And again, going to college is watering the seed. They went to college, and they got qualified, they looked for work, and they ended up being seafarers. Some of them have very beautiful uniforms here that demonstrate that they did not sleep, but they watered the seed they received. So it's about the seed. If you don't water it, it's not going to grow. So may you therefore be a fertile ground for the seed that the SAMSA, Port Regulator, the Port Authority, the Department of Transport continuously throws to you for you to grow. So grow that seed. So that's the main, if you can, in whatever I'm going to say now, if you can just remember that, it's going to help you into the future. That it's that seed. We're planting the seed. So maybe the good soil from which the seed is going to grow and be a tree that's going to benefit not the seed but the people that will enjoy the fruits coming out of the tree. Okay? So that's the main message that I can tell you. Alright, so but today then we are meeting because we are part again of this global community. South Africa is a member of an organization called International Maritime Organization. In short, IMO. Don't have to remember the full, but if you know IMO, it's the International Maritime Organization. So it's a member of that organization. That organization's responsibility is to make sure that there is safety in shipping. So ships that traverse waters of the world, the 7 seas, that they trade safely. Workers who work on those ships who are called seafarers, they follow the rules that are made by the IMO, and they get qualifications that are required for them to work on board the ships. So that organization in South Africa is a member of them. Has got many regulations that they write, and part of those regulations are regulations about the preservation of the oceans. That although you use the oceans as the freeway for ships, But it is important for us to look after these oceans, because it's not only that they work as a free way of ships, but they also are a means of living for people. You get fish, all types of fish that you can find in the ocean, but also they regulate the climate that we live on. So there's a particular role that the oceans contribute in ensuring that we have a healthy environment in which we live. So they are therefore very important to preserve, because if we don't preserve, this gift of the oceans would disappear. It will not be there. So it is important, therefore, that IMO as a global institute developing the regulations for safety and navigation of ships, but it's also developing regulations for the preservation and the protection of the marine environment. So we protect the marine environment in various threats. Some of the threats come from ships themselves, because ships, they use oil. Okay, they use oil for their energy to move. Eh? So they don't like using wind, so they use oil for the engines. Okay, so this oil sometimes it spills and then it damages the environment. So it can damage the beach that you visit once a year. So it is therefore important that the regulations imposed on states and ship owners to observe and make sure that they do not pollute the oceans. So it's protection again from sources that come from inland. So if you throw a plastic, you don't put it into a bin, what happens is that it's blown by air and it may end up on the river, and most of the rivers, they link to the oceans. So the plastic is a major problem for the environment today. It is one of the things that I know is paying particular attention to encourage seafarers, even when they work on board, to observe all the required procedures for the disposal of garbage from ships. So this is about promoting the culture of responsibility, that we do not just throw things around, but we take responsibility for our actions. So as part of the global organization, IMO, South Africa, therefore, is joining with the whole of the maritime community to celebrate the Day of the Seafarer. So the main message for the Day of the Seafarer today is about preserving and protecting the marine environment. So the regulation that IMO developed is called MARPOL, which is a Marine Pollution Prevention Convention, which then regulates all those actions that will ensure that we have a cleaner marine environment. So as we then gather throughout the world, the day was celebrated, as it was reported here, on the 25th of June, which was last week, and South Africa could not celebrate on the 25th, so they tried having it today. So, of significance, therefore, for you, I think this is the message that comes from the minister, is that as young people, and as you aspire to work, when you get your qualifications, because the route is school, college, or university, or school, college, and then you go to the workplace, is that as you are coming through here, there are exhibition stands. Those exhibition stands are not just for you just to look at, but it's for you to, again, look for information that's going to help you in the preservation of the sea that I spoke to you when I started with my conversation. So interact with the people who are there, get as much information as possible. And I know that some of the schools that are here are maritime schools anyway. So at least they've got a good foundation, because whatever you get from here If some of it is not clear, you can inquire from your teacher to explain it to you in much detail. So the Department of Transport, supported by our agency, South African Maritime Safety Authority, the Ports Regulator, the National Ports Authority, is providing this platform for you to get more information, to empower you make the right decisions into your future. We don't want to lose your interest in coming into the maritime sector, because these events that we hold each year, and some of them actually are being held throughout the year, either by the Port Authority, promoting the work that they are doing, so that you finally may, when the time for you to make that call for your future, you are able to make that call with enough information and background to support your decision. Among us here, it's not just government, but you also have the private sector, companies that are there. It is an indication that government is saying, on our own as government, we are not enough to manage and regulate the maritime sector. You need the society, you need the industries to be part of how we can look after our maritime sector, but more particularly, how we can contribute in making the maritime sector a sector that is sensitive to the environment. Without the environment, we do not exist. So it is therefore important that as you have access to various platforms, make sure that you search for platforms that have something to do with the oceans, okay? Anything to do with shipping or maritime. Try and navigate those sites so that you get more information building on what we have provided to you this morning. So we are grateful to your teachers. Where are the teachers? Can they all stand? And let's give them a hand, a round of applause to acknowledge and thank them for bringing this case. So these teachers, they have in their hands seeds. They are just throwing the seeds to you. Be the fertile ground for you to grow and be what the community would enjoy, and we want you to be proud. When we see you, be proud of your contribution into the maritime sector. I wish to thank you for your attention and the good success for the program. Thank you.